Welcome to part 2 of the State of the Union address by President Barack Obama, 2014. So let's get right to it. He intimated, or he said, that companies will from now on insource jobs instead of outsourcing. You know, insourcing, outsourcing, which is really a bald-faced lie. How is he, who has promised to raise more taxes, cut tax loopholes, meaning that you can't claim deductions from your taxes, and puts out nearly 30,000 new regulations per month, how are companies going to all of a sudden start hiring in stateside in factories that they haven't built yet? I mean, it's just ridiculous. He says the tax code is riddled with complicated loopholes and will stop those loopholes so that you can't take tax exemptions. He pretends that it will create more jobs by companies paying more taxes. It makes no sense. He promises 3 million jobs for government construction that he's going to do this year. He promises to spend more money creating university hubs for high-tech jobs. The government and state-sponsored schools do not create high-tech jobs. You know who creates high-tech jobs? Private companies, of course. He says Obama White House has made more loans to small businesses than any other White House in the history of the United States. I mean, that is just categorically just a lie. I mean, just across the board, it's just a lie. He said that federal funding led to the creation of Google. He said, and I'm saying this incorrectly, he said that the federal government funding created Google. That's exactly what he said. I mean, it's lunacy. Patent reform bill to solidify patents. He's going to reform the patent system. And what I read into it, it's going to be more pleasant for big corporations. So let's say you're a small-time inventor and you make something, and then you go to investors or a corporation or something for funding. And this is something that they do all the time. They will offer to purchase your patent, and then they get all of the money from that patent from there on. They will completely buy you out. And I'm not talking about they will buy you out for millions of dollars. I'm talking about they will offer you $2,000, $5,000. I mean, and this patent reform seems to smack of that process just to the next degree. America close to energy independence, best in a decade. We only import 10% foreign energy. 90% of that comes from Canada and Mexico, not the Middle East that he's talking about. So only 10% of 10% comes from the rest of the planet outside of Canada and Mexico as our foreign imports. This literally is like saying, black people should get a suntan because they need vitamin D. It's a non-issue. Foreign import of energy, that's oil, gas, or what have you, foreign import of energy is inconsequential to the amount of energy that we produce ourselves. 90% of the energy that we consume is produced right here in the United States. So, Bush was on and on and on about energy, oil. And then Barack Obama got into it in 2008 when he was running for office. And they were talking about drill, baby drill, and all that crazy stuff. It is a non-issue. And people get all riled up and start chanting drill, baby drill. It's a non-issue. It's a non-issue. And with the discovery of even vaster natural gas reserves and them trying to utilize it in everyday things like cars, automobiles, it's an even bigger non-issue. It's just really you're being taken for a loop. It's just politics as usual. Watch the birdie. That's what's going on there. You know, they make you afraid of the Middle East or Venezuela and blah, blah, blah. And the reality is it's all about the petrodollar. The petrodollar meaning all energy, commodities must be traded, that's purchased, sold, and purchased in US dollars. It's not that we are trading in that much oil, gas, or what have you. It's that we get special treatment because things are purchased in the US dollar. So really we can offload all of our debt on foreign countries to the tune of trillions, and then we turn around and say to our citizens, not we, but the politicians say to our citizens, these people are terrible. Why do they say this? So then that if anybody steps out of line with the petrodollar, Saddam Hussein, oh, he's an evil guy. He was our ally. Gaddafi, oh, he's such an evil man. Another ally. I have pictures of him shaking hands not even a month before they attacked and killed him. And I have other videos talking about Gaddafi. I'm no fan of Gaddafi on a personal level, but this is what we did for the petrodollar. Now we're going after Syria again for the petrodollar. It has nothing to do, and it has nothing to do with you. Understand that. The petrodollar has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with this debt that the U.S. government, the federal government, is just building up. If they can unload trillions of dollars on other nations just based off of this petrodollar, they can stay ahead of the entire world. He promises to change cars to natural gas. I guess he'll force automakers to do this, like he forced Obamacare on the U.S. population. He promises to preserve pristine lands in America. When somebody talking about preserving and what's the other word? Sustainability. We want a sustainable ecosystem. It smacks of Agenda 21. That's where we got that lingo. Preserving the pristine lands. Sustainable crops. What it really means is they're going to reduce the human impact on the land by any means necessary, including killing you. So if you are deemed to be on pristine land that should just exist, they will do everything, including kill you to get you off of it. And that goes along with Agenda 21 anyway. So anytime you hear somebody say sustainability or pristine lands, think Agenda 21. They have absolutely no care for the land. They have no care for the natural beauty. They just want to get humans off of it because that is their pie in the sky. I don't know what the end result of that is, but I hear it's 20% of 20% of the land used in the United States will be inhabited by humans. The other 80% will be pristine lands. How about them apples? That's some crazy stuff. He promises not to invest in oil and gas, but instead in solar and electric. He's going back to that whole more Agenda 21. He's going to invest in green energy, sustainable energy. Green, the two are interchangeable, okay? Just so you're not confused, just so you know what dictionary that they are reading from. What encyclopedia are they reading from? Sustainable energy, sustainable biospheres. Green energy. This is all Agenda 21 stuff. Kill the humans because they are over consuming stuff that humans make anyway. Sustainable farming. What's unsustaining about farming? You plant the crops, you weed, fertilize, compost the crops, grows, you harvest the crop, and then you give the land a rest. Who isn't sustainable? Who isn't doing that? The great big agribusiness. That's who's not doing that. It's more Agenda 21 stuff. He promises to force trucks to reduce emissions, which translates into job loss. Why does it translate into job loss? Because he's going to force the trucks off the road that do not comply. Now, who owns the trucks in America? A tiny percentage is owned by companies, but for the most part, truck drivers own their own trucks. So if Obama says, in order for you to get on this road, your truck has to meet these certain emission standards, that truck owner is out of luck until he fixes it. Job loss. This is more of regulations. Him talking about that it's going to increase jobs. It's a bold-faced lie. Again, he pretends carbon is a pollutant. The things plant breathe to stay alive and in turn emit oxygen. Carbon. And then I just read a report and saw a documentary that said what they really aren't showing you when they show you these terrible graphs of carbon spiking up and all that sort of stuff, and you know, presenting movies like carbon as some sort of pollutant, and then saying it's a greenhouse gas, as if to say greenhouse is bad. This world is somehow bad from having an atmosphere, ionosphere that creates a greenhouse to keep the heat inside of our planet so that we do not freeze to death. That's what greenhouse means. It means that you are covered and that you are kept warm. It is so stupid, and they play on people's fears, and the worst are the young people in college. I'm not too far from college, but I mean, I was never that stupid. Oh, carbon emissions, your carbon footprint. It's ridiculous. Carbon is not a pollutant, period, point blank. No matter where it comes from, it's not a pollutant. You breathe out carbon. And they even said, I even heard a report one day, an article in a news report that said that they were thinking, some stupid city, some liberal city, some Democrat city, were thinking of charging people for breathing out because it's a carbon emission. That they're gonna raise the taxes across the board in the city because so many people are breathing out, and it creates so they're going to smack on a carbon tax on everybody in the city. How ridiculous is that? Air, right? Then he went into full Al Gore mode. Says climate change is a fact and the debate is settled. Those are his exact words. This is all a la Al Gore. Al Gore has been completely removed from the climate change. I've already done reports about this. I've done videos. Go back and look at my videos about Al Gore and climate change. Any video with those topics in it. Al Gore has closed shop. His funding has dried up. He shut down and fired 95% of all of his staffers in all of his satellite offices across the globe. He's done. It's over. Climate alarmists, they're now called climate alarmists. Why? Because they're in the minority. Climate alarmists are in the minority. In fact, the UN and the IPCC has almost but destroyed that entire section of the UN, and they included their report and shelved it and made it a non-priority. Why? Because all of their models, and this was the whole thing about the whole climate change, everything that they talked about was based on computer models. These models were completely incorrect, completely false, completely erroneous. You remember he said that there will be no ice by 2013 or 2014. There will be no snow. The ocean will raise up 3 inches, and this will happen, and this will happen, and there will be this and that and the other. Then they changed it from man-made global warming to climate change. So then they took credit for tornadoes and all that sort of stuff. Then for 15 years, the global warming never happened. The globe never warmed, not even 1 degree. Al Gore closed shop. Obama just stand up in front of everybody and say that climate change is real, man-made global warming is real, is a bald-faced lie. Thank you, and please wait for part 3. And thank you for watching the Shikama Live show during the State of the Union address 2014 with President Barack Obama.